Hi, guys. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I'm getting my shit together, I promise. And while I give everybody else a chance to start jumping on, I'll finish getting my stuff ready. Set this MiFi over here so I have service. I had to come down to the shop because kids are gaming at home and a sick baby. So it would have been a lot of noise. So decided just to come down here instead. Hello, Miss Sarah. How are you? Sherry and Haley, hello. Hello. Since Mandy's sitting down here at the shop, she better jump online too. Actually, I guess she doesn't have to. She's watching it live. Though she's sitting over there laughing at me. Because I'm going to do the live and then I'm going to get out of here so I can go home and take care of the house while she opens the shop today. Anywho, like I said, since I was a few minutes late, and I do thank y'all for being patient with me, I'll give a couple more minutes in case anybody else needs to jump on. Having some of my Ohm tea from Crystal from Dragon's Cove. So yummy. Good morning, Elizabeth. How are you, dear? And I see we have Jenny. Good morning. I had to light my candles. Not ignoring anybody, I promise. Just trying to wait a few minutes. I'm actually ready to go. All right, anyway. Let's see here. Oh, good. I'm glad you're doing well. I am doing pretty good. I'm not doing bad at all. It was just a little crazy this morning at the house, so I decided to run down here and do the live at the shop instead. It's just a lot easier instead of fighting with kids. So, but I'm doing great. A little bit of Ohm tea and I'll be doing amazing as soon as I could get a couple of good sips down. Love this stuff. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get going. This live is a bit of information, well, a lot of information with a bit of story time. So I hope that y'all can bear with me. I have it all written out. And surprisingly, I started typing this up, the story time portion, 2 years ago. Yeah. It was something that didn't come to me, but came through me. And it wasn't all from me. So we're going to go into that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. All right. So this is about Loki. This is about working with Loki. And we're gonna definitely dig into that, okay? So anyway. 2 things that I say to Loki very commonly. Loki, what the actual hell? And fucking Loki. Things happen constantly. Those are my 2 words. And I don't mean my puppy Loki. I mean Loki, right? Yeah, these are 2 things that I regularly say to him. Truth being, I've only been working with Loki for a couple of years now. But like I said a few moments ago, he's prompted me to write this. He started me writing this a while ago. All right, so I'm going to go back a bit. For the longest time, I thought I was like totally lost in finding a deity. I thought I had to have one. I tried connecting with multiple deities, but none of them really fit. After a while, I concluded that, well, I'm not meant to have a deity, and I just need to trust in the universe. Because, of course, I mean, the universe knows more than I do. Now I'm going to go back even further. This is years before I even started on this journey. I was a kid. So throughout my life, I've always been connected to animals, more so with dogs. But at about 7 or 8 years old, I remember having a great connection with my neighbor's Doberman, though now I don't remember the dog's name. I took her for walks every day after school, and I fed and played with her on the weekends because her owners went out of town a lot, and I was the neighbor kid that was paid to take care of her. She was an awesome dog. I loved her. But one Saturday morning, I was opening her gate, and she jumped at me and bit me in my face. Now, of course, I don't remember what happened exactly after that or how I even got to the hospital. But what I do remember is when I got home the next day, I found out that the neighbors were about to take her away to be put down. I was like hysterically upset. I ran to the neighbors. I begged them not to take her away. And while I was crying and begging, this image came to my head, came to my mind. And it was the Doberman and her 2 puppies. But there was someone else there that I didn't recognize. And this person was fighting with the mama. And he was covered in blood. I asked the owners where the puppies were, and they said that only one of the 2 was there. They couldn't find the albino one. We searched up and down the block and finally found the little guy. He was quite beat up and had to go to the vet, but he was okay. We're going to get back to Mama now. So I begged the owners not to put her down. I was like, it wasn't her fault. She was protecting her babies. Long story short, she didn't get put down, and she was reunited with her babies. This was not her fault. And I guess we wouldn't have known what had happened the night before, in the middle of the night or whenever, if I didn't have that vision, or if those images weren't given to me. I don't know, right? So did I know or even think that someone was talking to me? No. 1, I was a kid. 2, these visions were normal. And my mom always said that I had a pretty vivid imagination anyway. Similar, many close call incidents or vision incidents happened to me as I was growing up. But I was also considered very active. So it wasn't, a thing. It wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't recognized, I guess is the best way to put it. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward back to just now or a couple years ago. Like I said earlier, for a long time I was trying to connect with a deity. I really didn't know who or how. Had no idea even how to do it. But I thought I needed one. Then after so many walls or flat out blocks, I said, forget it. I'm done. Not meant to have a connection with a deity. No big deal. And I was okay with it. I already had a great connection with the universe. I still do. And I thought that's all I need. I don't need anything else. Or so I thought it was the universe. It wasn't until after I came to that conclusion, finally decided I'm done, that Loki actually came to me. Started off with a dream. And it was about someone else in our group who was already working with him, which of course, that pushed me into diving in and doing some more research. Then another dream. Again, same person, just a different situation. Seeing a pattern here, right? He has his own way of communicating to or through you. I'm sure, I know that we've got a few Lokians here in our group, and I'm sure they could agree. Finally, sometime a couple summers ago, I started asking questions. I was driving down the road and kind of shouted out, Loki, if you're there and this is what we're supposed to do, then freaking tell me. Okay, freaking wasn't the word I used, but whatever. And I was talking about myself and the other person that I'd had these dreams about. Well, I guess that was a challenge. Suddenly, I see this fox starting to cross the road in front of me as I was on my way to work. And he stopped, and I'm slowing down because I don't want to hit this fox. I love foxes. And he stops and just standing there staring at me in the middle of the road while I'm slowing down to it. And then he decides he's going to finish going across the road, sits on the other side, and literally faces my vehicle and watches me, like turning his head, watching me as I'm slowly driving by. Of course, I was looking right back at him. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Of course, honey. Of course. Absolutely. And literally that's when the light, the light bulb moment in my head, because that's how I imagine it, came on. Loki'd actually been with me all the while. And now I believe since my childhood. Remember me talking about those visions? Yeah. Okay. So, I get it. I know that as humans, we naturally want to find a connection. It's what makes sense to us. Oh, it's okay, Sarah. Don't worry about it. We have to connect things logically, right? Well, not everything's logical. But while I had to think about this also. While I was learning and researching the other deities, Loki kept coming up. It would be like maybe just a line or two, but constantly his name kept coming up. And I wasn't even realizing it, but subconsciously I was actually learning more and more about him. Anyway, so I began talking to him regularly. Just like I would when I was talking to the universe. It just seemed natural. Didn't matter where I was, what I was doing, driving, dishes, whatever. I'd just begin talking. Didn't matter. So over the last couple of years, I've come to realize that if he wants to work with you, one, he's not shy about it. And if you ask him outright, he'll tell you yes or no. But you also need to be open to him. If you're not open to him, he's going to wait. He's not, you have to be open to him. It's hard to explain it. Send you things, obviously, but you've got to be open to him. He didn't actually answer me until I was open to him. And I don't mean just open-minded either. I mean like wounds type of open. He wants warriors, not sheep, but he'll also help you to become a warrior. He'll give you a trial or 2 or 20. Then he'll reveal himself to you when he says you're ready. Loki's much more than a trickster. Writing him off as the god of mischief is a huge mistake on our part. So I've gone through many trials in my life. And I've been on the fence about adding this in here, but you know what? That doesn't matter. List of trials in my life. I've been molested. I've been beaten. I've been cheated on, mentally and verbally abused. I've been held at gunpoint and shot, not at the same time though, thank God. I've had children. I've lost children. I've been through cancer. I've had numerous broken bones. I've been homeless living in my car. and I've lived high on the fucking hog. I've even died and been revived twice in my life. I'm not telling you these trials to feel sorry for me. Don't you dare. Don't, because I'm not. Okay? I'm not sorry for myself at all. These trials that I've been through in my life have made me who I am. They have brought me closer to myself. They've brought me closer to my family. They've brought me closer to my children, my husband. And they've brought me closer to my relationship that I have with Loki. And, you know, like I said, they're just trials. They've helped me become who I am. And I've been able to help a lot of other people because of what I've gone through. Anywho, so I can honestly say that, like I said, I've been through all these trials. They've strengthened my relationship with Loki, myself, and my husband. So now I'm going to jump into my husband for a second. My husband has I thought I had a pretty good relationship with Loki over the last couple of years. He has an even stronger relationship with Loki. Like old ways connection. I finally realized my husband's connection. Oh, I love you, ladies. Thank you, all of you. Where was I? I realized that he has an even stronger relationship with Loki when he had a trial. And actually, it was more of a family trial. My husband ended up having a massive stroke. I went outside after they airlifted him and took him to the hospital. I screamed at the top of my lungs, and, we're talking, here we are 2 years later, and I still have doctors and nurses tell me that I scared the shit out of them while they were in the parking lot. Well, there you go. That's what happens, right? When someone's upset. Anyway, I was hurting really bad. I didn't know what was going to happen. Had to call my kids, tell them what's going on with their dad. Of course, they're freaking out now. While I was crying, though, I asked Loki for his help. I didn't see him, but out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow walking to my vehicle. But I turned around and there's nobody there. At that moment, though, I knew. Because I was getting ready to jump in my vehicle, go grab some clothes, and drive the hour and a half to where they had taken my husband. And he was going with me. And I knew it. It was a wake-up call for all of us. But we wouldn't have gotten through it if it wasn't for Loki being there for all of us. Long story short on that, my husband walked out of the hospital 3 days later. So he's good to go. It was just another trial, though. That's all it was. After that, through many conversations with my husband and a lot of research, I found that the two of them have had this connection for many years. Just Brian didn't know who it was. He's absolutely sure now. He's absolutely sure. And it makes sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to my husband. It makes sense to our kids. But for as long as he could remember, he's always had this voice from outside his head. Not that subconscious, inner voice that talks to you. That outside voice. And sometimes these guided words made sense to him. Sometimes they didn't. Brian is definitely not the conforming type of guy. The crazier idea to him, the better. So it makes sense that the two of them have a connection, right? Some lessons that he's had to learn have taken longer than others. I mean, he is a Taurus. He's stubborn. But over his life, every single event, he's come out stronger also. According to Brian, much of the time he's not given a choice in these decisions, and I get it. Like, he's been flat out told, this is what you're doing, and he does it. Matter of fact, when he and I first met, he told me that he heard my voice, and he turned around, and that's when he saw me. And he told me that he had heard my voice his entire life. I just chalked it up to a pickup line. Now I kind of understand what he was saying. And to be honest with you, I can only hope that I can be on that level with Loki one day. Okay, anyway, story time is over. Thank you all for listening to that. But I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of how I realized that he's actually been there. And this could be very true with other deities for other people in their life. And I've got a candle over here going nuts. I don't know. Not sure who it is. It could be Gypsy. It could be Loki. I'm not sure. But they were happy for a moment. But it could be very true for other deities in your life. They guide us. They put us through trials. Oh, you're all very welcome. But that's what they are. They're trials. I don't think there's a single deity out there that wants sheep. They want and they need warriors. And that's what we are. That's what we are to become, is warriors for them. You know, I mean, right now we're fighting their fight. Anywho, I just kind of threw that in there. It wasn't in my notes, but it's kind of what I felt like saying. Anywho, now, of course, I'm not going to forget Loki's a trickster, and he's a cunning one. But I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I have never had Loki lie to me or lead me in a downward spiral. Anything and everything that he has given me has been for the better. It might have been hard to get through, but the second I've hit that finish line, it's like the freaking, I mean, I hate this description, but, you know, people can imagine it. The heavenly gates opened, right? Or the seer gates opened. I don't know. Now, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes he does seem to delight in allowing people to be misled, by their own false assumptions. You know, it's like, oh, you didn't listen to exactly what I was telling you. Which, I get it. It's hard because I don't know a deity out there that doesn't talk in riddles. I'm not good at riddles. I don't know too, well, I mean, there's some people that are amazing at it. Not me, no. But he usually does this as much to teach you a valuable lesson as for his own amusement. But taking any communication that you get from him at face value could have some interesting consequences. Discernment is important when working with the deity, and even more so with Loki. He's always got a reason. You might never know what that reason is, because like I said, he and every deity out there talk in riddles, and I'm not good at riddles. But if you trust in him and push through whatever trial he's giving you, a reward of sorts is going to come to you. And that reward might be something as, to us, simple as learning to be humble. You know? Or it could be a massive reward. It all depends. He can certainly be helpful by not making your magic go astray or, like backfire at you. I don't believe that Loki does that, but it might take a detour. He might say, she wants it to go right. We're going to make it go left and then make a few rights before it gets to where it belongs. We're going to detour it. I think he does that. I think he might bring a couple of strange events inside, because even though you're trying to make something happen, he's still going to test you along the way. Loves to test us like crazy. But like I said earlier, he wants warriors. He doesn't do it to be cruel, and he doesn't do it to cause chaos. He can just see way further than we can. And I believe that he's helping us to discover who we truly are. Powerful, beautiful, unbound, and free. He's a God who gives us back our power, teaches us to take responsibility for our life, as well as to love and respect ourselves and others, and eventually transcend our earthly bondages. If we're willing to face our own darkest depths, Loki shines the light that guides us back, and he can be a great healer. Know what you're getting into, though. It's kind of hard to say that with a straight face. No matter how much research you do or how many Lokians you talk to, it's completely different for everyone. But some common themes that are his influence are present that lead to intense shadow work, facing hard truths, cutting out toxicity or toxic people. We know that there's a difference between the two. Frequent chaotic situations of many degrees. Say that 10 times. Life plans falling apart. Lots of testing, lots of boundaries. He's definitely a trial by fire kind of teacher. Sink or swim. And I prefer to swim. He's also known to meddle without asking for consent. But usually it's a glimpse of what could happen if you make the wrong choice. I'm not trying to scare you away. I mean, shit. The more the merrier. The more Lokians out there, absolutely. The more warriors he has, absolutely. I'm definitely not trying to scare any of you away. He's also gentle. He's kind and faithful to his followers. Very faithful to his followers. He's always got your back, just as long as you're ready to buckle up, because it's going to be a ride. I will start going into his correspondences and his symbols and stuff like that. But before I do, you guys were awesome about listening to my stories and what I have to say about Loki so far. Do we have any questions? Anything that I could answer? Mandy, got any questions? No? Okay. And I know that we had one or two other Lokians that had popped on. I don't know if they're still on here. Maybe if you have anything that you'd like to input also, about this crazy ride that he gives us. Okay. Well, if I don't see any questions pop on, I'm going to go over his correspondences and associations. So his colors, I see one. It's just, how do you figure out who your teacher is? How did you know it was Loki? Okay, so Margaret, I wasn't sure if it was Loki. And I had said earlier, but it's no problem. I have no problem answering this also. I had said earlier, because he'd I've been given a couple of dreams. And finally, one day, I kid you not, I just said, if that's you, you need to freaking tell me. And he did. But it was literally a little while of receiving these kind of dreams, you know. And I knew that this other person did follow Loki. So that's how I found out. Was, like I said, I'm not good at riddles. I suck at riddles. So I just flat out asked. Kind of yelling style asked. But yeah, that's how I found out. Anywho. And luckily for me, he's that type of deity. Because I know that there's other deities out there that if you approach or ask them aggressively, they might never come back. So luckily for me, he is that type of deity. And he was like, yep, guess what? It was me. Okay, anyway, I'll jump on. His colors are black, yellow, green, gold, red, orange, and violet. His days are Friday the 13th of each month, autumn equinox, Samhain, and Yule. His animals are snake, spider, falcons, horse, fly, flea, salmon, vulture, wolf, and wouldn't you know it, fox. I didn't know it at the time when I saw that fox. Found out later though. And a fox has always been my absolute favorite animal. Anyway, his stones are, and I've always been connected to obsidian, black tourmaline, black onyx, garnet, citrine, serpentine, whatever, and carnelian. His herbs, mistletoe, mint, patchouli, not a fan of that one, tobacco, and I do smell this one from time to time. I could be all by myself. There's a fox that keeps up my chickens. Oh, them poor chickens. I don't know how to make the fox stop going after your chickens. I wish I did. You definitely don't want to feed it because he'll never go away. Anyway, tobacco is the one that really gets me. Every now and then, something will happen, and then I'll smell the tobacco. Yeah, right? Yeah, dang it, Loki. Cinnamon, and I'm not a fan of cinnamon, but it's there. Clove, holly, cedar, juniper, and elder. Well, either it's flat out Mother Nature, and the fox is hungry, or it's a little guy that Loki's sending out, and maybe put a couple of herbs out of these herbs and see if it does anything. It's worth a try. Why not? Especially with herbs. I wouldn't put food out, but herbs, sure. Or herbs and stones. Try it. His magical domains. Chaos. Go figure. Destruction. Creation and creativity. Fire. Shape-shifting. Blacksmithing. Cooking. Discovery. Trickery, of course. Protection. Very important. He's so protective. Paradox. Taboo. Shadow work. Like crazy shadow work. You have to do a lot of shadow work. Cunning. Seduction and passion. Instinct. Gut feelings like instinct. Healing. very big on healing and self-empowerment. Go figure. His symbols: the infinity snake, or the circular snake biting its tail, the, what is it, Ouroboros or Ouroboros. Can never say it right, but the circle of the snake biting its own tail, that one in the infinity snake. The number 8, the chaos star. And I don't know if anybody knows what the chaos star is. Let me see. I'm going to draw it real quick on the back of this piece of paper. So it's a circle with 1, 2, trying to draw it real quick. I want to get a tattoo of the chaos star. One more. Okay, that's the chaos star. And I'm going to tell you the meaning of the chaos star also. I love the meaning of it, to be honest with you. And this was something that I would see a lot in my dreams. Literally a lot. I never knew what it was. Go figure. Again, riddles. Hate riddles. Anyway, let me finish these symbols. The number 8, the chaos star, and runes that spell out his name: Laguz, Otela, Kenaz, Isa, as well as Heglas. Heglas? Anyway, I draw that all the time. I never knew it had a name. There you go. And that is Loki's favorite symbol. At least that's the one he's given to me. Like I said, he approaches, and he's different to everybody who wants to converse with him, talk to him, follow him, work with him. But that's one of his main symbols that he gives to me. That and the number 8. And spiders. Those 2. So there's 3 things. Foxes. Okay, maybe there's more. I guess really, I could probably say almost all of these things because he comes to me a lot. I've seen that symbol. Yeah, it's a beautiful symbol. We're going to go over what it means. Okay, so the Ouroboros represents, that's the circular snake biting its own tail. It represents the cyclic nature of the universe, that creation begins after destruction and life springs forth from death. It's humanity's story and our place within it. You were born on the... Sherry, you need to start looking into it. You might be one of his without even knowing it. Okay, the chaos star. It has different meanings attached to it. The word chaos is naturally a negative word, right? To us, it's naturally a negative word. And they associate it with negative scenarios. The occult, it represents the chaos. To the occult, the chaos star represents chaos magic. God, I'm sorry. It took me a while to spit that out. But it also represents the many possibilities due to the arrows pointing in various directions. It's actually north, south, east, west, northwest, southeast. You know what I mean? It's every direction, right? So you're looking at multiple possibilities. These arrows symbolize that there are more than 1 or 8, get it, paths to take. That your possibilities are endless. That's why I love the Chaos Star so much. My possibilities are endless. I have more than 8 paths that I can take. And of course, the number 8 for Loki. Right? Pretty awesome. Sherry, if you've been feeling called out since the beginning of this, I think you already know what you have to do. I don't have to say a single thing. You're already thinking about it. That's all you need, is just to put that little seed. And sometimes that seed is just reassurance of what you've already thought of or what you've already been thinking of. That's all it takes sometimes. All right. Now, the association list, the colors, the correspondences, the symbols, the magical domains, all of that stuff. Now I want you to take all those things that I just gave you and put it away. Yes, all of those things are correspondences for him. But he's not limited to those. Not at all. You're not going to see, but if you are, awesome. But most likely you're not going to see all of them. And sometimes you might not see any of them. You might see something different. It's okay. You'll get a glimpse every now and then, right? Yes, absolutely. Look at it for reference, but it's not Bible. He comes, like I said earlier, he comes to every one of us differently. My Loki, your Loki, absolutely different. He has a different mask for every single one of us. We're not going to all see the same associations, and we're not going to connect with all of them. Some people absolutely love cinnamon. I despise it. I don't like it. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it. Just not a fan. But, because we also have to remember that he is a shapeshifter. He's going to be different for each and every one of us and our needs. But he's still going to be there, and he's still going to protect us. He's not hateful. Can he destroy your life if he wants to? Yeah. But you'd really have to push those divine buttons for him, for that to happen. He's more inclined to let you learn from doing the wrong thing while standing to the side and laughing a little bit. But at the same time, he's going to send you hints of ways to pull yourself up and out of whatever that situation is. He has darker paths, but they are more serious, more on a serious side than angry or hateful. Unless you hurt somebody he loves, then you better run. We simply need to understand that sometimes, well, probably all the time, that Loki is a god that will take drastic measures for those he loves, just not in a hateful situation. See if we have any other questions. Okay. Don't say anything yet. My final notes on Loki. Be respectful, but don't worry about being wrong. He's understanding and doesn't get stuck on formalities. If you make an effort and you're not trying to be rude, you're doing just fine. And I'm sure, as with many deities, as long as you're making an effort and you're not trying to be rude. Start simple. Always, you don't have to start big and elaborate and have a mass altar for him. Matter of fact, you don't need anything. Matter of fact, I had nothing and I yelled at him. Right? I don't have an altar for him at home. To me, my world with him, everywhere I go is my altar to him. I guess I have a little space for him everywhere. In my Jeep, I've got spiders and foxes. Well, my Jeep has spiders all over the outside of it. Inside of it, I've got foxes everywhere. But that's just because I like them. At least that's what I thought originally, right? Here at the shop, I've got a couple of spots that, I've got a couple of spiders here and there. And granted, yeah, they're little spiders that I made for sale, but I will keep making more as they sell. At home, I've got a couple of crystals. I've got obsidian pieces everywhere, so I kind of have bits of him everywhere. So I don't have an altar for him at home. Matter of fact, I never had anything to work with him until I started making my my rosary pendulums. And finally, he says to me that while, talking with him, he says that he wants one. So I made him one. This one's, forget my spider. This one's mine for him. So, but he never asked for an altar, never asked for anything. I have a customer that comes in here and she, oh, thank you. Thank you. She works with Hecate, Loki, and Morgan, I believe, or she's starting to work with Morgan. And she said that she has this huge, elaborate altar for Hecate at home. And then I can't remember, she was either starting to work with Bast or someone else. I'm not sure. Anyway, that part doesn't really matter. She has this massive altar at home for Hecate. Hecate was her first deity. She never had... See, there you go. And from what I'm under, because Morgan's been talking to me a little bit lately also, from quite a few things that I've been reading, the three of them work pretty well together. Surprisingly. Not really surprised at all, honestly. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, she did not have an altar at all for Loki. Because he didn't want one. She said that she asked him, just totally ignored her, did not answer her. So she was like, okay, I guess you're not getting an altar. And then finally one day she put something on Hecate's altar and the back of her head said, well, I want that. So now he's starting to get an altar. It was kind of the same thing with me. I was, I had my little bits and pieces throughout different places in my life and my daily life. And I started making the rosary pendulums for other people. And in the back of my head, I hear, well, I want one. Okay. So I made him one. Anyway, that's just the point I'm trying to get across. You don't need anything big and outlandish. You can start extremely simple. You could start with nothing. You could start like I did with screaming at him. Hey, it worked for me. It might work for everybody else or other people. Anyway, on top of that, be open to rejection. Because communication does go both ways. Working with Loki, as with other deities, takes consent. You'll know if he says no. He can be vague at times. He's still got your back. Okay? Even if you're not a Lokian, he's still got your back. He wants people to be happy. He has a weird way of showing it sometimes, but he wants people to be happy. Be yourself. Absolutely be who you are. He encourages self-knowledge and self-confidence. Know what you want. Okay, that's the worst way to say that. Know what you want. That's not what I meant to say. Damn it. Okay, we don't always know what we want, and that's not what I meant to say. The self-knowledge. I'm trying to figure out a way to... more of a know who you are. Okay, we don't always know what we want, so you don't have to know what you want. Loki might have to help you with that. But know who you are. And if you're not 100% sure of who you are, you might need to do a little bit of shadow work to help to find yourself. And he's great for that. Okay, I'll get off that little kick. Always do what makes sense and feels right to you. Loki wants the true you. He wants you, not a mirror image, not a mask. He wants you. Yeah. Okay. Don't rush in. Don't make promises. We never make promises we can't keep, right? First off, don't make promises in the first place. I'm just a firm believer of that. I don't care what deity you work with, don't make promises. You can make offerings, but don't make promises. Developing a relationship, no? Yeah. Developing a relationship with Loki, as with any deities, takes time. It also takes a lot of contemplation of what you're capable and willing to do. Deities take promises and oaths seriously, very, very seriously, as they should, as we should. So don't make promises. Well, first off, don't make promises you can't keep. Or I should say, first off, don't make promises. And if you're going to, don't make promises you can't keep. That's the best way that I could put that. I prefer not to make a promise. Just don't. I will make offerings. But something might happen that you can't keep that promise. And I'm not making a promise to a deity that there's a possibility of something can go astray, because then I'm fucked. At least that's how I think of it. Sorry about the language. Anyway, last but not least, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Seriously. I've made so many scary statements in here. I know I have. I know I have. But don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Be you. He wants you. Chaotic? Yeah. Crazy? Yeah. But he's so understanding. Just open your heart to him. Do your best. Give respect. Be yourself. Freaking go for it. That's how I see him. I don't know what else to say. And Jenny says, yep. Okay, well, that is what I have in my notes. Do we have any questions? Anything else that I can answer? Like I said, guys, I know that I've given you guys a bit of a story, a little bit about my life. I say a little bit. Okay, I know that was quite heavy. And I apologize. My candles are going nuts over here right now. Even they know. Did it do it? Oh, now they calm down. Sure, as soon as I show you off, you want to quiet down? Whatever. Fine. Even they were just going nuts. Yes, absolutely, Jenny. Pop back on there and you'll get a chance to watch it. Like I said, I know I've given you guys a lot of information about my life. My life. I said live as I was reading the word. Oh, I wished you lived closer too, honey. Where was I? I'm trying to read comments and get out what I want to say at the same time. I know it was a bit of a heavy live, okay? But I want every one of you to understand how understanding of a deity he is. How little you actually have to do to start a connection with him. But how open, and like I said earlier, wounds type open, you need to be to him. How vulnerable. And when we're absolutely open, we are vulnerable. Right? So, yeah. But I'm a firm believer that when we are open and we are vulnerable, we truly shine in those moments. That's when our auras are at their best and their brightest, and our intuition just tells us the riddles disappear at those moments. That's how I see it. Anyway, let me read a couple of these comments. Book recommendations. So I do have a couple of books, and I'll pop over to my books because I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I think I think we've got them on the shelf, right?
Uh,
I think I got a couple of my Lokian books on the shelf.
I don't know.
Or do I have, I might have them all in my book library in my phone. I'll look over there in a second. Off the top of my head, I can't think any. And if I don't see any on the shelf, I will pull some up and I will add them to this live. Okay. Let's see, Elizabeth. Of course, honey. Absolutely. And thank you. I mean, I don't consider myself a badass, but that's pretty awesome to hear. I appreciate it. Yes, absolutely, Jenny. If you have any interest in Loki, definitely you'll get a chance if you go over the correspondences, and he's got some great things. Elizabeth, I wish every one of you lived closer to my shop. I wish I had a shop in every one of your guys' towns and I was able to be there. If I split myself in 120 different directions, I would. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to get into more about Loki. I'm glad that it brought you into, and I have no problem sharing my life story with everybody. Like I said, I was on the fence about it, and it wasn't more like being held back because I was afraid to tell you about me. Because that part I'm not too worried about. I didn't want, well, thank you, Sherry. Absolutely. I didn't want to offend anybody. And then I thought, how am I offending it? How would I offend anybody? And then I thought, well, if I did, sorry. But not sorry, it's my life, right? So, all right, Mandy just opened up the shop. We're not closing yet, but I'm going to take you guys with me over to the books, and let's see if we can see, there she is. Look there's my cute daughter. I love her to pieces.
I really am pretty.
And she's not, oh shit, what's that word?
Modest.
Modest, that's the word. She's not modest at all. She's all, I am great. Yeah, well. Okay, there's my Hecates. Norse goddess magic. Which one was he in here? Okay. Maybe. Sorry, I'm kind of taking a peek through my books. No, that one wasn't it. That was not it either. Okay, that one was a good one. Okay, so I'm thinking that my Lokian books have ended up selling. This was one of the first, because I was very interested in rune magic. So this was one of the books that one of the first books that I ended up getting. And this got me more interested in researching on Loki, or researching on Norse gods, which kept bringing me back into Loki. And then I thought, this is when I was doing my research on gods, and I thought that I was like, maybe I needed to work with one of Odin's wives, right? So I got this book. And of course, it kept pointing me back to Loki. Go figure, right? Let me see. So those are the ones that we have. There are a couple of other ones that literally are called Loki, and they're good books. I've got them on my ebook list. And I don't think I have any on this side at all. No, I've just got the Book of Runes and Rune Magic. But that one also got me interested in him. Sorry, we're kind of hanging a little awkward position here. So in the shop, I'm sorry. I apologize, Sherry. I don't have too many. Well, I don't have any books specifically on Loki. So what I will do is, I know that I've got quite a few of them in my book, my reading list in my phone. I download, the ebooks also, so that I can read them while at work, and it doesn't look like I'm reading a book that doesn't have to do with work. Kind of cheat that way. But I'll put those in, I'll add them into this live, ones that I have that I like. Let me see. Sherry says hi. Just so you know. I don't need to be negative on life's trials and tribulations. All right. Anywho, yeah, like I said, I'll add them in there. Any other questions while I'm still on, before I jump off and let everybody enjoy the rest of their beautiful Sunday? Hopefully it's a beautiful Sunday. Started off nice over here. It looks like it's going to want to start to rain now. Like I said, I know that I gave you guys a lot of information. I know that I said some pretty scary things about Loki, but all in all, he's amazing to work with. I couldn't have asked for a better deity to have in my life. That's honestly how I feel about it. And if he ends up being literally the only one for the rest of my life, I'm fine. All right. Well, the time says it's 10:10. So on that note, and with the numbers yelling at me, I'm going to get off the live and I'm going to run home and finish my laundry and that kind of stuff. Still have snow melting. Good girl. Never been so called out. That's how I felt. Welcome to the club, honey. Thank you, all of you, very much. All right, on that note, I love all of you. Have an absolutely beautiful Sunday. Many blessings. Bye now.